Alright, hello everyone. Today I'm going to be playing Dear Esther. Uh, this is a mod, or I guess you could call it a mod, for Half-Life 2. Came out a while ago. Uh, it's not like a recent game or anything, but I don't know if I would even call it a game, to be honest, because I don't know, it's really experimental. There's not much actual gameplay other than walking around, listening to the character that you play as talk while he narrates his story. But it's a pretty cool story. It's there's a lot of ways that you could interpret it, I guess. It's not really like cut and dry, but uh, yeah, I'm gonna play this, and I hope you enjoy. I'm probably not gonna talk very much because I'm just gonna let the character that you play as talk, because that's the whole point of the game. So let's get started. I already played this game a lot, by the way. Like, I've beaten it 2 or 3 times now, so I'm used to it.
Dear Esther, the morning after I was washed ashore, salt in my ears, sand in my mouth, and the waves always at my ankles, I felt as though everything had conspired to this one last shipwreck. I remembered nothing but water, stones in my belly and my shoes, threatening to drag me under to where only the most listless of creatures swim.
Yeah, I really like the music in this game too. The main theme, the one that's playing now, it's really good. It's very haunting, very emotional. I like the melody a lot. The atmosphere of this game is absolutely wonderful as well. Stupid bird. There's lots of paint. Oh shit. Right, yeah, I can't come up this way. Okay. Yeah, you can't run in this game either. So if you're wondering why I'm not running and you're screaming at your monitor telling me to run, that's why. This is as fast as you can go. It's just walking. But it's for the purposes of the atmosphere, right? I have to say too that despite being a Half-Life 2 mod, this game looks a lot better graphically than Half-Life 2 does. I don't really know how they accomplished that, but props to them for doing it.
When you were born, your mother told me, a hush fell over the delivery room. A great red birthmark covered the left side of your face. No one knew what to say, so you cried to fill the vacuum. I always admired you for that you cried to fill whatever vacuum you found. I began to manufacture vacuums, just to enable you to deploy your talent. The birthmark faded by the time you were 6, and had gone completely by the time we met, but your fascination with the empty and its cure remained.
So, there are symbols, like, all over this place, sort of like this, and I have absolutely no idea what they mean. There was one on the house that we started out in, or the lighthouse.
I have found the
It was
ship's
painted on the
manifest,
wall,
crumpled and
blue,
waterlogged under a stash
or
of
whitish
paint
blue.
cans. It
I have
tells
no
me
idea what
that
they
along
mean,
with
but
this present cargo,
they're
there was a
all over
large
this island.
quantity of antacid yogurt bound for the European market. It must have washed out to sea. God knows there are no longer gulls or goats here to eat it.
I think this is as far as we can go this way. Alright, let's go upstairs. This entire island really does sort of feel like Newfoundland, which I think is one of the reasons I like it a lot. I could see this being on the coast around here somewhere. Like it just fits the entire mood.
The mount is clearly the
Geographically,
focal point
yeah.
of this landscape.
Like the plant life
It
and
almost
stuff.
appears so well placed as to be artificial. I find myself easily slipping into the delusional state of ascribing purpose, deliberate motive to everything here. Was this island formed during the moment of impact? When we were torn loose from our moorings, and the seatbelts cut motorway lanes into our chests and shoulders, did it first break surface then? When someone had died or was dying, or was so ill they gave up what little hope they could sacrifice, they cut parallel lines into the cliff, exposing the white chalk beneath. You could see them from the mainland or the fishing boat, and know to send aid or impose a cordon of protection, and wait a generation until whatever pestilence stalked the cliff paths died along with its hosts. My lines are just for this: to keep any would-be rescuers at bay. The infection is not simply of the flesh. They were God-fearing people, those shepherds. There was no love in the relationship. Donnelly tells me that they had one Bible that was passed around in strict rotation. It was stolen by a visiting monk in 1776, 2 years before the island was abandoned altogether. In the interim, I wonder, did they assign chapter and verse to the stones and grasses? marking the geography with a superimposed significance, that they could actually walk the Bible and inhabit its contradiction.
Well, there's the ship.
Dear Esther, I met Paul. I made my own little pilgrimage. My Damascus, a small semi-detached on the outskirts of Wolverhampton. We drank coffee in his kitchen and tried to connect to one another. Although he knew I hadn't come in search of an apology, reason or retribution, he still spiraled in panic, thrown high and lucid by his own dented bonnet. Responsibility had made him old. Like us, he'd already passed beyond any conceivable boundary of life.
This hermit, this seer, this distant historian of bones and old bread, where did he vanish to? Why, asked the farmers. Why, asked Jacobson. Why bother with your visions at all, if you're just to throw your arms up at the cliff and let it close in behind you and seal you into the belly of the island, a museum shut to all but the most devoted?
Yeah, so here's some more of the symbols I was talking about. I have no idea what these mean. They sort of look like trees, but oh, what's this? I've never seen this before. Is that bones? Creepy. Yeah, okay. So what I've gathered from the story from playing this is that it involves this guy that you're playing as. He gets shipwrecked on this island. But before that happened, I think something happened involving this person named Esther. A car crash or something like that. I don't know. I'm just gonna play it and let you interpret your own meaning or whatever, but that's really all I could gather. There's not much to really go on. The writing is really kind of cryptic, kind of metaphorical. So yeah, it's kind of hard to understand sometimes. But whatever.
He still maintains he wasn't drunk, but tired. I can't make the judgment or the distinction anymore. I was drunk when I landed here, and tired too. I walked up the cliff path in near darkness and camped in the bay where the trawler lies beached. It was only at dawn that I saw the bothy and decided to make my temporary lodgings there. I was expecting just the aerial and a transmitter stashed in a weatherproof box somewhere on the mount. It had an air of uneasy permanence to it. Like all the other buildings here, erosion seems to have evaded it completely.
Never gone down here before. Oh, is this just where the cliffs washed out? Yeah. Right, okay. Don't want to fall down there. think this is the end of chapter 1. Ah, this atmosphere is just so cold. It's like giving me cold shivers. Honestly.
Dear Esther,
Yeah.
I have now driven the stretch of the M5 between Exeter and Bristol over 21 times. But although I have all the reports and all the witnesses, and have cross-referenced them within a millimetre using my Ordnance Survey maps, I simply cannot find the location. You'd think there would be marks to serve as some evidence. It's somewhere between the turn-off for Sanford and the welcome brake services. But although I can always see it in my rear-view mirror, I have as yet been unable to pull ashore.
I think I'm supposed to go down that way, but I'm just gonna go over here first. God, this island's just like covered in shipwrecks. This must be a very unfortunate place. Maybe it's the Lost Island. No, it's too cold for that. Oh. Okay. I think I just saw a ghost.
All night the boy has kept me lucid. I sat when I was at the very edge of despair, when I thought I would never unlock the secret of the island. I sat at the edge and I watched the idiot boy blink through the night. He's mute and he is retarded, and he has no thought in his metal head but to blink each wave and each minute aside until the morning comes and renders him blind as well as deaf-mute. In many ways, we have much in common.
Neither did he eat nor drink. Keep forgetting that I can't jump. I don't think I can actually get up on the ship. No, I can't. At least not from here. Can I? Oh, no, okay. Damn. I got excited there for a moment.
There must be a hole in the bottom of the boat. How else could new hermits have arrived?